Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of Pace League Weekly. I, of course, am Jay the Plug with my co-host Justin Clock Management, and we've got a special guest here yet again on the show. I can't wait to get this under wraps, get this going. Mr. Adam Rank, how you doing, man?
Well, I'm actually kind of terrible because I was noticing Justin's shirt. I'm like, that's so amazing, and it's C3PO with the Infinity Gauntlet.
Yes.
And I just realized because I sat up and I realized I'm wearing an NFL Shield logo tee, which is like, what a shill I am. Like, don't be that person. Like, I don't need to be John Cena showing up in a John Cena shirt. Like, I know you're marketing it for children. By the way, I also have a fantasy football legend t-shirt, and it's super comfortable, and it's a brown t-shirt. It's the only brown t-shirt that I own. And I go, I can't wear this. Like, it is, I don't know if it comes off like, is it now funny enough to be ironic? I'll throw it to you guys and I'll let you make the final decision. Like, if Dave Grohl was walking around that had a t-shirt that said, and look at me, compare myself to Dave Grohl, but if he was rocking around in a t-shirt that said rock and roll legend, would you be like, oh, he's being funny, ironic? Or would you be like kind of a D?
I think that you're going to get some people who take it both ways, but I think I would find it hilarious.
Yeah, I think it would be funny, but then at the same time, I'd be like, well, I mean, he kind of is.
I want to do it because I was at Disneyland a couple of months ago, months ago. And I freaked out because we saw the Angels play-by-play announcer, Darren Sutton. I'm like, oh my God, it's Darren Sutton. And so, of course, I had to talk to him and I fanboyed. And then my sister, who I was with my sister and my niece, and they were asking me afterwards, they're like, does that happen to you? And I'm like, yeah, of course. And she's like, what happens? I'm like, it's kind of like what happened with Darren Sutton is that I saw who it was. Then I'll be like, oh, I'm going to be cool. And then we made eye contact. And then he kind of sees that he's like, does this guy know who I am? So I dive in because it's always a risky proposition because I never want to be like, yeah, it's me. Like, aren't you, Ahsoka's dad? And you're like, oh yeah, that's why you know me. You don't know me from TV or anything. You know me as a school dad. And here I am thinking like, oh, I think I'm famous. So it's always a delicate balance. And as I'm explaining, but sometimes I go, what you have to do is like, somebody will look at you and then look away. And then they take a second. And they either, number one, have to figure out like, where do I know that person? Or is that really that person? And so then one guy, like we're sitting there, the three of us are enjoying a beer because it's California Adventure, which is amazing. And so this guy walks by, does exactly how I described. And then I tell them, I'm like, if I lock eyes with him, he'll then break the silence and come over. And I did. And he walked over, he's like, hey, Adam Rick, like, what's going on? Huge fan. And you always know too, like one of my favorite things, and I know this has nothing, by the way, draft Robbie Anderson over DJ Moore. I wanted to get in a little fantasy advice because this whole show could be this story. So, okay. So you did walk away with some kernel of fantasy football knowledge. And so then he does it. And it's always amazing to me when people are like, hey, huge fan. Like this happened to me like not even too long ago. Somebody's like, hey, huge fan. Like, hey, by the way, have you always had a beard? Like, what do you like? I've had it for like 5 years. Like this goes back to Fantasy and Friends. Like this is how long the beard has been a part of my life. Now, if he would have said like, I remembered when you didn't have a beard. Okay. Big fan. The person's like, yeah, like I watch ESPN all the time. Probably not as huge a fan as they think he is. Or else people just think NFL Network's part of ESPN. And I'll be honest with you. I don't try to correct them. I wish, first of all, like, no disrespect to the NFL, but the NFL has not put me on an Avengers movie. You know what I'm saying? Like Matthew Berry has been in an Avengers movie.
Yeah.
By the way, this is the thing too.
But you might be able to get in a Justice League movie.
Maybe sneak into the Suicide Squad too. Speaking of which, I'm glad you bring that up because that's exactly what I was going to launch into here for a second. So we're doing a fantasy football spectacular, which I'm recording next week. Who knows when we're going to air it because it's not live, unfortunately. And so I'm like, we're getting like a list, like, hey, like give us a list of celebrities. And I'm like, oh, okay, you know, like people who would be promoting movies or anything. I'm like, hey, and I had John Cena on there. He's promoting the Suicide Squad, SummerSlam, and they're like, yeah. John Cena, keep dreaming. Or Andy Sudeikis. Yeah, right. I'm like, Bill Lawrence follows me on Twitter. He's the showrunner of Ted Lasso. Like, we're the NFL. Like,
Right.
Again, we're the NFL. Like, Matthew Berry is in an Avengers movie. And this is not a knock on Matthew because he's a hard worker and he deserves everything that he gets. But like, he got to be in the Avengers and he does a league with Robert Downey Jr. and Mark Ruffalo and Ryan Reynolds. And me coming in and asking if our booking team that has the weight of the NFL behind them can't even ask John Cena's people if we could do something. And I understand, like, John Cena might say no.
We're gonna get Jay on that booking team for you so he can help them out with getting some people.
Jay's getting free tickets from Darren Waller.
Yeah, he got T-Pain in our league.
And I'm like, hey, do you think we could ask to see if Adam Shaheen could be on our show? They're like, no, that's too big of a name.
Right.
And
they're like, aim lower.
Set your sights a bit lower. Austin Eckler, not to make fun of the triple play fantasy guys, I love them, by the way. They're amazing. They had Austin Eckler on one of their shows. And I'm like, how do we, like, we've never had, you've had.
Yeah. I'm repping for, I talked to him, like I've probably talked to him a few times this past week. Just,
hey, will Austin Eckler come on my podcast? Can I get you booked? Can I get him booked for my podcast?
I told you, we got to get Jay in our booking
department. I could get him on there for sure.
Oh my God. If Austin Eckler will come on with me, I would laugh just to put it on my TikTok or YouTube page, just to be like, hey guys, I got this video.
You have to give the Pace League a shout out in that episode.
If you bring on
for the Austin Eckler Foundation,
Austin Eckler is part of the Pace League, who's representing the Austin Eckler Foundation. Like, let's do it. I'm going to throw down a donation right now. Fundraise the hell out of it.
AustinEckler.com, man.
I got a photo of Austin Eckler's locker on my phone right now. I was at SoFi Stadium yesterday. By the way, people who don't want to draft Austin Eckler, by the way, there you can see it. There's Austin Eckler's locker.
That's awesome.
I don't get why people aren't drafting Austin Eckler. Like, why people they're so weird to me.
It's recency bias. People get too much. Like, if you weren't great, like the last season, if you weren't a top running back, then you were horrible.
Yeah.
People
and
think
it's
that
funny.
Injury just people think that an injury just completely destroys your value the following season. I love that because then you can get these guys at a steal.
Okay, well then, so Christian McCaffrey's going what, 1.10?
Right.
Wait, what?
I agree.
He's going first.
He's the only one immune to
Austin
that for
Eckler
some reason.
Yeah.
What is happening? And listen, but this is me being consistent. Is that I'm not afraid of drafting Christian McCaffrey. Similarly, as I'm not afraid of drafting Saquon Barkley,
yes,
and Austin Eckler. Like, I don't think about that. By the way, also I love Keenan Allen, and people are like, "Oh well, he's too injury prone," and I'm like, the guy has missed 2 games in the last 4 seasons, and I know he had that one game where he was active, and he was active and. They're like, we don't know how much he's going to play. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm starting. Like, I benched him one time when I shouldn't have. And I made a video and I apologized to him. And I said, I've always got Keenan's back. And so I went out and I'm like, hey, if Keenan Allen is active, I'm starting him. Because at worst, he's my wide receiver 3. And the funny thing was, and it didn't work out. Obviously, he scored like maybe less than a point. And everybody hated on me. And I said, listen, I go, let me tell you one thing, though. He had a red zone. He had an end zone target, not even a red zone target. He had an end zone target in that game. If you were going into this contest and you told me like, hey, Keenan Allen might not play that much, but he's going to get an end zone target, I'd be like, sign me up. Okay. Well, like, who are you? What are you going to do? Start Cephas, Quintez Cephas over him? Like, who are you starting over him? I'm sorry. Yeah. If you're in a league that had Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, and DK Metcalf, and you're like, okay, like maybe I'm benching Keenan Allen, but I don't know. 50% of Keenan Allen is usually pretty good. Like, it's like the Office episode, but it's like, hey, do you want like a lot of good pizza or all you can eat sort of good pizza? Like, just give me the good pizza. And I always forget whether it's pizza, by Alfredo or Alfredo's Pizza Cafe, which is I'm going to put it on a Post-it note and sit it on my monitor because I always forget and I'll be like, damn it. And I know there's going to be some office person who's going to be like, no, actually, Pizza by Alfredo is the better one. I'm like, okay, you get the joke. By the way, can I ask you one thing? I'm sorry, Justin. I'm cutting you guys off. I apologize. No.
You're the guest.
I feel like sometimes, I know that you guys can talk. Like I've seen your show. I know that you guys can talk because a lot of times, and this is no disrespect to anybody, but like you'll come on with these kids or whatever, and they're a little like, I don't want to sound like a douche and be like, oh, they're starstruck because I'm such a huge megastar, a fantasy football legend. But you can tell like they're a little nervous, and I've been there. Like
next time you're on their show, you have to wear that shirt.
Yeah, okay.
I'm one of those people.
So, but like I remember when I was a kid, the first time I talked to Jake Plummer, I thought I was gonna die. I wanted to go throw up in the corner. Like I get it, I understand all this. So I will talk, and I'll be like, I'll make it easy for you. I'm just gonna sit here and talk for 45 minutes, and then we'll bounce. And then you can ask 4 questions, and that I'll take it from there. Have a good day, enjoy a Fresca, do whatever you got to do. Hard seltzer, whatever your. By the way, I had an oat milk latte today, delightful. I will say this about The Office, though, and I wanted to get into this point. And Scott Fish actually brought this up because it has been something that I call her Stephanie. Stephanie Smalls and I talked about one time. It's like, I don't think they made enough. Yeah, I'm shouting out everybody. Michael F. Florio, Marcus Grant. Let's do it. Kimmy Checks. Yeah. Let's get everybody, all my friends. Let's get them mentioned. Austin Eckler, my new best friend, who's going to come on hopefully my show. I will say this. Nobody talks enough about how Michael Scott could have invested in Suck It.
Oh,
and then he doesn't.
I saw your tweet the other day.
Right?
Yeah.
You liked it. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So this is perfect. But like that, and it was so fun because I was having this conversation with the guy who was like, well, he would have ruined it. And I'm like, no. Like Michael wouldn't have ruined it. Like, I don't think that we understand how great of a salesman Michael is. And he's like, yeah, but I go, no, because like the development was all David Wallace and one of the engineers from Dunder Mifflin. And then he was like, well, he ruined the Michael Scott Paper Company, but got bailed out. I'm like, but that is part of what he does is like, he finds ways. Like he got Hammer Mill products to be sold at Dunder Mifflin, which by the way, that is always one of the things too. When they downsize them, and are you a small number person or are you a severance package person? And he's a severance package person. I never understood that. And perhaps Josh turns out to be kind of, I don't even think Josh is that bad of a person. Like Josh screwed over a public corporation. Yeah, I don't care. Josh is a little bit of a hero. Like, honestly, like you're a publicly traded company, Dunder Mifflin. You are letting go of 13 people. So I have no sympathy for you if Josh ruined your plans to go leverage himself and better his family. So I don't think Josh is the bad guy that everybody thinks that he is. I don't understand why you would let go of the guy who brought you Hammer Mill. Like, again, like Josh even mentioned in that episode, like, hey, if like something happens to your branch, I'd be really interested in having you as a salesman. And I think that, obviously I wouldn't want him in the office to try to usurp you or try to like come after your what do you would say, power or anything like that. But I would still put him in a Todd Packer type role of like, yeah, you stay in Pennsylvania. You're going to sell in Pennsylvania because they're still having to cover all of that territory. Like we'll keep Michael in Scranton. He'll be our sales rep out there. And I think that would have been the best role for him.
Yeah, like a traveling salesman like Packer was.
Yeah. By the way, Ryan Tannehill is such a great value at the quarterback position. Outside of Lamar Jackson and Aaron Rodgers, nobody has scored more fantasy points than him since he's become the starter. By the way, I don't even know if that's true. And if it's not true, blame Matt Okada.
Adam ranked with the best segues ever.
I just know I have to bring it back because I know that people, well, this happened to me. Like when I was on the ATN Fantasy Spectacular, is I went on there and I didn't talk fantasy football. And I'm like, do you not see me enough during, do I not put out enough fantasy content for you?
I think
Yes.
that's a problem I have is when I when I talk to Marcus and Florio, my friends pointed out, they're like, you didn't ask them a single fantasy football question. I'm like, yeah, they do that all the time. You can watch their show if you want that.
Adam,
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember our the first interview that we had. You were my second interview,
Right.
period, by the way. So much, thank you so much.
I remember because you were so like, again, like of people being nervous. Jay's like 6'8", and he's like nervous. Oh, hey, how's it going? Like, bro, you're 6'8". You wouldn't. John Cena wouldn't wrestle you because you're too tall. But yeah, I do. No, I remember because then you were like, "Do you have any notes?" And I'm like, "No." Like, honestly, you came off as somebody who'd been doing this for years. So I remember. I remember this distinctly because you were like, "It's my second interview," and I'm like, "I would have never known." Like, if you had never known, I'd have been like, "This guy's been doing it for 10 years." Like, God bless him.
Man, NFL Network, listen to him. So
Yeah.
give me a job. No, that's the first interview that we had. It was so easy going, and you were so gracious and everything. It was awesome because it was just a discussion. And I was even thinking to myself, because my wife and I, she watched it because she likes to give me notes. And so yeah, she'd never done an interview in her life, but she was watching it and she's like, y'all didn't talk a whole lot about fantasy football. I was like, well, I want people to get to know him. Like the fact that you're a very good stand-up comedian and you know, all the different things. It doesn't have to just be about fantasy football. So yeah, man, I'm totally down with throwing in a couple fantasy football here and there, you know, tidbits, but
It was an off-season show where we were just kind of getting to know each other.
Yeah, it was a blast.
Getting to know the man, Adam Rank, the man. It's always, I put this on my TikTok too, which by the way, at Adam Rank on TikTok. It's always,
TikTok?
Bro, I'm a TikTok.
I follow him on TikTok.
I'm a TikTok legend already. Apparently I'm doing well.
Mark is doing good too. I saw he's been active on there as well. The two of you have really been killing it.
I've thought about it. I've done it and I've deleted it multiple times.
Can I tell you what my initial reaction to TikTok is obviously it takes a little bit more work, but I think it's a little bit more fun. Like it's me pointing to something and then I drop a graphic that says, it says 3 sleepers. And then it's 3 photos with some cool music. And that, you know, the kids love it. You know, there's less clown emojis.
Yeah.
And
what I've learned
per capita,
is they don't want explanations on why.
Yeah. A lot of these. Yeah. You understand, like people are like, hey, just who do you like? I'll throw a little nugget in there just so they can impress their friends. Like, hey, Gabe Davis, who is one of my sleepers, more end zone targets last year than Devontae Adams. Again, that's a Matt Okada stat. If I'm wrong, blame him. And then it's just like, hey, you know what? Like, cool. And it's, you know, that's all they need. Like, okay, like you don't need to write 4,000 words on this. Like, okay, I got the gist. Like when you trust somebody, you're like Matt Harmon. God bless Matt Harmon for as much work as he puts into reception perception. And I'm like, hey, Matt, do we like Quintez Cephas is a bad example. Good, but like Allen Robinson.
The second time he's been
which
mentioned.
is probably good. Who? Quintez Cephas? Yeah. I'm supposed to mention him 3 times. It's a bet I had with somebody. And it's got to be organic. So and it's with Stephanie. So hold on. Anyways, she's like, if you mention Quintez Cephas, she's going to pound a White Claw on air. But anyways,
just so you know, she would have did that anyway.
I was going to say, like, she's going to do something. But like with Matt, you know, you're like, hey, like, how do we feel about Nico Collins? Oh, I love him. He's and like, I'm like, okay, you can stop. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't need any more explanation. No. But I'm like, that's great. Like tweet it out, like whatever you need to do. Put it in reception perception. I don't care. I just need you to give me the answer.
Yeah.
Like, it's like when you're cheating. Like when you're cheating. Why do we have 10 minutes left?
That's what it just said. So if
you don't spend for the big Zoom. Good for you.
I had to I did before and I have to upgrade it because for some reason when I was trying to send the link before, it wouldn't let me log in.
Bro, that has been the weirdest thing. I've had trouble with that, and I've been having trouble with anytime somebody tries to send me a Zoom link, it is not working on Gmail. I think Gmail's in some sort of coup where they're trying to squash Zoom or something and won't let their, I'm like, the other day, some kid on TikTok, I'm like, he sent me a Zoom link. I'm like, can you send it to my NFL email address? And then he did. And by the way, this guy goes to the University of Mizzou, and I couldn't log on to his Zoom link because it was a higher quality. And it's like, have your IT department upgrade. I'm like, so the NFL is also going on the cheap on their Zoom links. We have Zoom. Like, if I was an NFL employee sending out a Zoom, I think I would get 14 minutes. That's how much time I get.
Really?
There's whatever Zoom was available in 1997. That's the Zoom that the NFL uses.
Wondering if I should upgrade this now.
I had a question for you.
Okay.
So
by the way, the way you're sitting, that chair with the white, the way that is, it looks like your knees are like your knees are up. And you're resting on your knees.
I'm just very flexible. Lots of yoga.
I'm like, what is he doing? Yoga?
Yeah, you stand limber. So a couple of years ago, you had this one clip that went viral where you predicted the 49ers record.
What?
And I thought you accepted that very well. I felt like I know you got a lot of crap about it. I'm a 49er fan. I also thought they were going to do bad that year, so I didn't blame you at all for thinking that. But I want to know if you have a prediction for the 49ers record this year.
Oh, you're not going to like it. The 49er fans are not going to like this. I can pull it up right now. Hold on. I'm working on my predictions right now. We're going to be dropping my playoff or my predictions here in a couple of weeks. So make sure that you're looking out for that. But for the plug, for the Pace League, I will let you know right now. And this is I don't have the 49ers losing a game out of the division. I have them winning the division currently, but I have them splitting, going 3-3, which I don't know if is totally realistic, but I see them, if everybody's healthy, I see the 49ers as normally in a normal year, they'd be 3-13. In this year, it would be 14-13. But I think that, some of the trouble spots, I mean, they got they open up with the Lions and the Eagles. Those seem like two easy victories. They play the Packers in week 3. That's their home opener. A lot of people seem to forget how humiliating it was for Aaron Rodgers 2 years ago in 2 games against the San Francisco 49ers. Got annihilated in the regular season. And then I remember the week before the NFC Championship game, and people were like, well, is Aaron Rodgers? I'm like, what the F are you talking about? They're going to destroy him again. Like Aaron Rodgers going home, like to get beat in front of his family. Like, thankfully, he doesn't talk to his family and they might not see it, but Jesus, he's not going to win that game. So that's a 3-0. They got the Seahawks at home. I'm sorry, Justin. I don't know what the history. I'm going to go back and look at the series history. The 49ers, do they traditionally win at home or lose at home and win on the road?
They usually win at home and lose in Seattle. Basically every year.
There's some weird, like the Giants and Washington are different, where the road team always wins. And if I'm being like, the first loss I could see for the 49ers would be week 5 when they're in Arizona. Even then, like that, I'm not supremely confident in that being a loss. They got the Colts with Carson Wentz. That should be a win. They play my Bears. That should be a win. The Cardinals at home. That should be a win. I could see them. I think they lose at home to the Rams and beat the Rams in LA. I'm going to go back and check that, but that's the way I have them splitting that way. They got the Jags. They got the Vikings at home. They got the Bengals on the road. They got the Falcons. The Titans might be a game. Okay. I don't know. I might switch that one because I like the idea of the 49ers being, they're going to be the 2 or 3 seed regardless. But I think that this record plays out very well for them. And by the way, I know you don't want to hear that because everybody loves when I pick them to have a bad record. By the way, you can go on. George Kittle has even posted that photo on numerous occasions.
I've seen it from him.
That photo, like, it'll take you half a second to find that photo on the internet. Can you find the clip of me on what was the path to the draft of me talking about George Kittle and saying, like, any team that needs a tight end, and I always will throw in like a Bears comment. Like, I go, I don't know why George Kittle isn't higher ranked for the tight ends. Like, he's somebody I see as a dynamic presence and heck, I go, if the Bears, the Bears need a tight end, I'd like to see him. He's an Iowa guy. We didn't really know George that much. I'm like, well, he's an Iowa guy. He probably grew up rooting for the Bears. Like, this is a slam dunk. And I'm like, can we find, like, people have scoured the NFL network trying to, that clip is impossible to find.
I'm sure I can find it.
If anybody can, Justin will be able to find it.
Me picking 3-13, whatever. I do have a screen grab of me correctly predicting Justin Jefferson's rookie season.
Nice.
To use against a hater one time. It was like, you never said that. Like, well, here's my article link. Here's the screen grab, because I know you're probably not going to click it.
I'm more shocked that you took the time to even do that for him.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes you got to get the dunk in. It's worth it.
Okay. I'm going to take this moment while Adam's taking a drink of his coffee to thank our sponsors. Bear Clothing, the brand that tells everyone's story. Adam, I figured you would like this. It is a bear because you're a Bears fan. Probably some of the best workout attire. I know you like going golfing and stuff, but it's not necessarily for golf. But
do they make polos?
I've been telling him he needs to. He said that anybody who comes on the show, he likes to bless him with one of these shirts.
Dude, I will at least wear it to the practice range, because I'll walk out in the driving range in a pair of shorts and a tee. I think it's a baller move to go to the driving range in t-shirt and shorts, because I saw some guy in the full gear, chipping balls the other day, and I'm like, that guy probably sucks. You're too dressed up for the driving range. Like, that's annoying to me.
Yeah,
trying to look the part. But it's incredibly comfortable workout attire. I mean, and you can wear it out. You can wear it anywhere you want, really. All different kinds of colors, different kinds of styles. It. Thanks, man. Yeah, we'll make sure we get you one of these for sure.
Do they have a brown one?
You can do any color you want.
I need another brown shirt since you guys won't let me wear my fantasy football legend shirt. I'm back to wearing it now. It goes good with camo shorts. Like, not like, like this. I'm wearing camo shorts right now, which, by the way, by Old Navy.
I don't think I've bought anything from Old Navy since like middle school.
I will tell you something right now. By the way, Bear Clothing, if you have an opportunity to support a local business, instead of going to Old Navy, which I'm a cop out, I only go there because, number one, I was given a gift card. Number two, it's actually really good for like kids clothing. Like, you want to go buy a pair of shorts for $4 for a 3-year-old, for my little boy Wedge, because he goes through his clothes too much. It's fine. But if you can support somebody like Bear Clothing, and if you watch this show and the next time you're online and you get one of those ads pop up from the rack or anything like that, don't click on it. Go to Bear Clothing, buy a t-shirt. This is an entrepreneur, the spirit of America. Okay, this guy is trying to live out a dream by making quality t-shirts. Bear Clothing, go check it out. Order a t-shirt. You're not going to be disappointed.
Man, okay, I'm gonna have to snip that out and send that to
you can
Jay,
send
you're fired. I'm sorry. Adam, you're hired.
That's fantastic. Yeah, it's t-shirts, it's workout clothes, like the pants, the shorts, tons of different things. Great person. Go do as Adam said, go to bearclothing.org, use the promo code Pace League and get 10% off of any item. And yeah, man, he makes brown colors. He can do Bears colors, whatever you want. But this guy is on point, and it's phenomenal.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Really, really, really nice fabric and everything. Yeah, everything he does he makes sure that he does it on point. Rick Ross has been rocking this brand. Darren Waller is going to be rocking this brand. Adam Rank is going to be rocking this brand soon. It's just Arian Foster is going to be getting some.
Is it a conflict if I'm also wearing Travis Matthew clothing? I just realized too, like, oh shoot, I have a clothing sponsor as well. But listen,
but this workout specific.
It's workout specific. You're fine. Support multiple.
You can wear
support.
The workout is great.
Support multiple businesses.
Yes.
I'm just saying this. This is my thing, and I don't want to jump in on Bear Clothing's ad with another ad for another company. I'm not going to do that. Fine. But instead of going for, one of the macro brands that you can find at Kohl's or any place like that, just order online. I know it's annoying, like you see the shipping costs or whatever, but 10% off by using the promo code Pace League, that covers your shipping. That should cover your shipping. And if not, it covers your tax. So what they're basically doing is they're taking the tax or they're taking the shipping. So order a shirt. I will order one today. And if he wants to send me a free one, if he sees my order come through and wants to throw in some additional gear, that's fine. But I should just support him.
Man, that's awesome, Adam.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
Thank you.
Now, if I look distracted, it's because I'm looking at the website.
So
I should wait, but I'm not going
to bring up, we have a football game coming up here soon, the Arizona Cardinals versus the Dallas Cowboys. And this game has some significance because it was also in a famous movie. Adam, do you know what movie this is?
Jerry Maguire, baby.
Yeah. Does that have any significance to you?
I was in that movie. I will tell you. Can I tell you the story of this?
Yeah, please do.
Because you would. Okay. My claim to fame is like I was actually at that game.
Yeah.
The Christmas night. This was after, and I don't want to bring down the room. But no, but my dad and I always have to say this, like after my mom passed away, my dad and I would always spend Christmas out of the house. And the only reason I bring that up is like, I never liked to tell, like my parents were never divorced. So I never want it to seem like a story like my parents were split up. I'm like, if there's one thing that I can do is just kind of like acknowledge that like they never divorced. So my dad and I would always take these trips. And my roommate at the time, because I was in college, was I a freshman? Maybe, yeah, somewhere. How old was I? Was I in high school? No, college. No, I was still in college. Right? Yeah. Couldn't drink yet. Oh, that's right. That's right. Because he was buying me beers when I was underage. This is amazing. In any event, we were it had to be college because I had a roommate. Duh. He was from Phoenix and he was going home. And so I'm like, he was driving to Phoenix. And I just noticed that the Cowboys were playing the Cardinals on Monday Night Football on Christmas night. And I told my dad, I'm like, dude, we should go to that. And like, we can drive Eric out and like, okay, cool. So then we ended up driving Eric to his parents' house, had Christmas dinner with his family, and then went to the game. It was awesome. And so anyway, so that's the footage of the game that they used for Jerry Maguire. And the only reason I started saying this thing of like appeared in Jerry Maguire is that as a comic, you will see people having credits to where like, what were you in this? Like, bro, you're not in that. No, that's disrespect. And it's disrespectful to guys who have actual roles in movie. Like my friend Greg Wilson is an actor that you will have seen, like you will see him like in Superstore. He's trying to return an item in Superstore and you're like, oh my God, there's Greg. That's awesome. But he had speaking, like he's speaking. He's not an extra, but he can't say like, so if he claims Superstore as a credit, you're like, okay, that's fair. Like you had a speaking role, you got paid. The scale of which you got paid is different than being an extra. Like my friend, one of my daughters, one of the school moms, this lady named Virginia was an extra in Scrubs. As a matter of fact, just saw one of the things where she walked by Zach Braff and Matthew Perry. I'm like, oh my God. I go, that's Virginia. Like that was it. She would never claim that she was in that show. Like she could legit, not that she's a comic, but she could be like, although she's funny, like she cares. Like she's going to see this. Hey, don't worry. Next time I see her at school pickup, I'll be like, yeah, I gave you a shout out on the Jay the Plug. We were talking about the Pace League and also talking about your role in Scrubs. Let's talk about it for a second. What was it like walking past Zach Braff and Matthew Perry? It's amazing. I freak out. I still freak out whenever I see my friends on TV shows, but also like, that's pretty cool. Like how do you not bother these people? Like I'm pretty good about not talking to NFL players. Like, whatever. Cool, whatever. And then one time, I don't even want to say who the celebrity was because it turns out like, I don't know, when you see them online now, you're like, ugh, like, oh, I was a huge fan of yours, but now you're hanging out with James Woods. I don't know. I won't go any further. You were Superman at one point and now, no, I'm just kidding. He was a nice person though. He was a nice person in that moment. I don't know how I should feel nowadays. But in any event, like those are the guys I'll go up to. And I did actually run into Matthew Perry one time. I'm like, bro, how are you? And he's like, hey, good. He's like, doesn't want to talk. I knew that he's a huge hockey fan and he's a huge Kings fan. And so I did walk up to him, and when I saw him, I go, "Hey," let me ask you a question. And he's like, he's already, because he's there doing the Rich Eisen show. So he's already like, Jesus Christ, I don't want to have to sit here and tell a friend's story for 20 minutes. Even if I thought it was cute to talk about the whole 9 yards or something like that, would not have been a props. But I go, hey, Matthew, I go, you know what I've always wanted to ask you? And he's like, oh God, what? He didn't say that, but his eyes said that.
Yeah.
And I go, hey, I know you're a Toronto guy, Maple Leafs. I know that you wore an Ottawa shirt in the whole 9 yards, but you've been out here long enough. Like, were you rooting for the Kings during their Stanley Cup run? And he's like, oh, and then like his demeanor changed. And he's like, oh yeah. He's like, of course, I go to so many Kings games. I think he said he had season tickets or something like that. And we started talking about it. And then I was like, I go, yeah, it's tough for me. I go, is it not tough for you because of the whole, Doug Gilmour thing and whatever? And he's like, I still sort of hate those Kings. But he's like, like Alec Martinez had nothing to do with beating Doug Gilmour in 93. So I'm kind of cool with that. And we had a pleasant conversation. And so I don't even know what my point was. What was my point? I don't know.
Jerry Maguire.
Yeah. Jerry Maguire. So I, as a joke one time, put that as one of my credits of like, yeah, I was in Jerry Maguire. Just like, I don't even want to say who, like enough LA comics who claim the most ridiculous of credits will be like, you let them know. Like that was the shot, but then people take it for serious. Like, what were you in Jerry Maguire? You're like, oh, I was Bob Sugar. Like, oh, really? I thought that was Jay Moore. Like, no. I was the quarterback. I was Cush. Like, really? And like, no, it's true. You know what? I had a scene cut from the movie Draft Day, which was very disappointing.
Yeah.
And it involved Arian Foster. And and you know what? I think if Kevin Costner had known that I was a Cal State Fullerton alumnus, because somebody had to see this footage. And I'm surprised still that they didn't use it in the movie, because Arian Foster comes walking through the draft, the red carpet. And we're just supposed to sit there and they're like, hey, like, they would pick people and be like, hey, can you just shout something at, the guys like Tom, it wasn't Tom Welling because he wasn't walking the red carpet, but Arian Foster was. And so then I go, so he walks by and I go, hey, and I forget what his character name was. I'm like, hey, I hear, what was it?
Ray Jennings.
Ray. I go, Ray, I hear you're drawing a lot of comparisons to Arian Foster. What do you think of that? And I think because he kind of laughed. Yeah, I think that if he had known, he would have played it, but he didn't know to play it off. It just is like, oh, it's jarring. And it's like, I think that it probably was either number one, his reaction, because it stunned, it was funny. Number two, maybe it's too on the nose. Like it's not, I don't think that they wanted that kind of nod to something like that. Like that's a little too much. Like we're
to make it too serious.
We're acting, like we're still, trying to, he's Ray Jennings in this movie. He's not Arian Foster. So that's cute, but I don't know. Maybe it's on the director's cut somewhere. I don't know.
I love it, man. I had him on the show not too long ago. I've got that one dropping here pretty soon. We talked about Draft Day, and he gave a lot of really cool Chadwick Boseman stories.
He is such a smart person.
It's crazy.
That he was too smart for the NFL.
Yeah.
Like he was somebody that you looked at and you say to yourself, like, he's going to see through all the bullshit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's not going to be this guy who's going to be in his late 30s. And this is no disrespect for anybody who wants to keep playing, but had kind of a level-headedness of like, I'm going to have a very short career. I've got a lot of other things in front of me. That football is not going to be my only focus. And I remember this because I used to work for one of the Dodgers minor league affiliates. And there was a player, his name was Chip Sell, and it probably still is. And he played at Pacific. He wasn't a high draft pick, but he hit 318 at every level that he was at, but he was never going to be promoted to the big club. He never had a chance of reaching the big leagues because I was still naive at this point. And I said, hey, at some point, like, will the Dodgers ever call you up or whatever? He's like, they didn't put enough draft capital in me to draft me that high. And they just don't look at me that way. I'm like, well, that sucks. And like, what's the point? And he's like, well, I don't have to get a real job for a couple of years. I get to hang out and play baseball. He's like, I live in my parents' house during the off season. He's like, I'm kind of breaking even. It's like, so what are you going to do? He's like, what are you doing now? Like, how much money are you making? I'm like, yeah, I'm not making shit. So I think you've made the right decision. So I think that Arian always kind of struck me as somebody who is there's more to life than football. And I think of people like that who I had met before. I think Pat Tillman also comes to mind too, where you're just like, oh yeah, that was just somebody who was like, yeah, this is a picture of my life. It is not my life.
Yeah, Pat Tillman, that guy was incredible. Yeah, Arian Foster is extremely, extremely bright. I don't know if you've heard any of his music. I know we were talking about Biggie and Tupac, but he just signed to Nas's album, Nas is another one that, everybody likes to throw out there as the greatest ever and all that.
Who also just came out with an album.
Yes, he did. He's got a song on there with Eminem and EPMD that is unreal.
Nice.
Unreal. So
can I start dropping some of his music on TikTok?
Do it.
I'm going to start looking.
I'll say yes. I'm not sure.
Bobby Fino is Arian's pseudonym or surname or whatever you want to. I don't know. I'm not good with the words. So I
always get that mixed up too.
I'm terrible with that, and I just throw them out there like I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, as long as you're confident, people will go with it, though.
Bro, you should have don't ever acquiesce on that. Don't ever don't try to just say it. Like I wasn't confident enough to call you on it.
Yeah, exactly. If you just exude confidence, most people just believe you.
So let me see here. So Adam, real quick, we're gonna go over something fantasy football real quick, okay?
Damn it, I'm at bearclothing.org. What is Heather Orchid?
Heather Orchid?
Like a color. I don't see brown here.
I think I was probably called something crazy.
I was led astray.
No. I will tell him. He says any color that
he'll make it for you.
I don't want him to make a special batch for me. I like the cartoon bear.
It's a shirt.
I like the cartoon bear. Am I a child?
Oh, you like?
Well, you are a Bears fan, so
I know that's why it's cool.
Yeah, man. You tell me what you want, and he says he will make it. He said, "Go ahead." I said, "You're already looking at the website. Tell him what you want. Tell me what you want, and I'll get him to make it."
I feel like I can't answer that question if you're a child while wearing a C3PO shirt.
Yeah, look at you sitting with your knees under your armpits like that.
Yes. Like he's at the
Why does this couch or chair have to be skin tone color too?
I don't purchase in that chair.
I couldn't. I've now ruined that chair for you.
I know. That's all I'm going to see. Well, I normally don't use this one. I'm
a good chair.
In isolation.
It's a perfectly fine chair. I would just get.
No, it's a good chair. Don't listen. Yeah, don't listen.
I'm throwing it out after this. You guys convince me.
All right. So here we go, real quick, with another one of our sponsors, Trophy Smack. If you can see that, Trophy Smack is providing a ring, which is actually pretty awesome quality. I don't know if you can see that right there, but they're going to actually, Justin, I'm waiting on you to, it's too blinged out for this light. Justin, I'm waiting on you to put that together because I'm terrible with computer stuff.
Yep.
So we're going to have a ring made for the league that they provided, and whoever wins gets that, of course, and whoever wins, their foundation gets the pot, which we've raised a little bit over $2,000 right now so far. So we'll keep doing that. Everybody go to the link shown below whenever we do have this on YouTube and get this all going. Click on it, and whatever you donate, we appreciate. $20 or more gets you in the drawing for a Earl Campbell autographed jersey. Anything $100 or more gets you in the drawing for some of these, some custom-made Jordan 1s by yours truly. I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of a little shiny. Anything you guys want. Doesn't necessarily have to be these. These are for Steve Smith. And let's see. Yeah, Trophy Smack. Rev up your smack talk with Trophy Smack and reward greatness. That's the worst read I think I've ever done, but
it's here. I'll save you. Let me tell you something about Trophy Smack. And I know a lot of people go out there and they purchase trophies and they purchase belts. And you know what? A lot of you live with another person who looks at that shit and they say, that is awful. I don't want you displaying that in my house. So here's what you do. You get a ring. If you can't get your husband, your wife, your domestic partner, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whomever it is, to sign off on a ring, just display. Just put it right there on the mantle, and it's not cumbersome. It's not intrusive. People will still see it and be like, oh my God, that's a nice ring. You can wear it to a cocktail party. Like, you can't walk in with a big ass trophy that weighs 13 pounds you can't, like, if you bring that to Buffalo Wild Wings, you're going to look like, first of all, you're going to look like a jerk. You're probably going to end up breaking it because after a couple of beers, you're going to knock it over. And no, so get the ring. You can even put a necklace through it, wear it around your neck. It's a nice conversation piece without being intrusive. So trophysmack.com for all of your championship needs.
We're going to put the link below as well. Go on there, use promo code Pace League, and get yourself one of those rings for free with an order of a trophy or a belt. If you want to just have that at your home, don't take it to Buffalo Wild Wings or wherever you have your drafts, because there are some guys out there that are haters and they might accidentally break it.
Yeah.
I'm one of those guys. Also, there is something that Trophy Smack does that is pretty sick are grills now. So just
awesome.
Grill, just keep your mouth shut. Nobody will know. Nobody will see it.
By the way, if you have to stop and ask,
get a grill.
If you have to stop and ask yourself the question, am I a grill guy? The answer is automatically no.
Yep. I've got my wife. She agreed to let me get fitted.
There it is. You're a grill guy, but
sure.
you're a grill guy. I'm not.
I'm wearing a goddamn top hat right now.
You're a grill guy.
I'm a grill guy.
You're a grill guy. I am not that person. By the way, I got a bounce suit. I'm so sorry.
You're good, man. Thanks for coming on.
I spent so much time, at least I put over bearclothing.org, Trophy Smack. We're drafting Robbie Anderson. We're going to wait on Robbie Anderson. We love Ryan Tannehill. The 49ers are going to probably win the NFC. I went into this season thinking that the Rams were going to be perhaps the best team in the NFC. I really do believe that the 49ers, as long as they're healthy and there's no injury derailments, especially on the defensive side of the football, they're going to be very good. And I will say this about Jimmy Garoppolo. There has been nothing that Jimmy Garoppolo has done on the football field that leads you to believe that he's not a number one quarterback in the league. The only thing is his availability, which has been a huge problem for him. And this even goes back to his time with the New England Patriots when he was replacing Tom Brady in 4 games. He couldn't even make that 4-game stretch before they had to turn to Jacoby Brissett because he got injured. So taking Trey Lance was more a necessity of our guy's not durable. It just hasn't been available enough for us. And I think that when he's on the field and he's healthy and he's ready to go, it's a good quarterback. And if Trey Lance comes out and plays as well as a lot of people seem to think that he can, and listen, as a Bears fan who is extremely excited about Justin Fields, I live in a world where I hope both quarterbacks are good. I mean, I would rather the 49ers weren't better than the Bears, but like, I have no beef with Trey Lance. I know people are trying to make it our guy and this guy, I'm like, which is fun, but it's like, if Justin Fields comes out and performs to the level that we expect him to, I don't care what the other quarterbacks do. I want to see my guy succeed. And I know the 49er fans are the same way. So you guys, and by the way, you guys were super cool. There's another fan base, not as cool. I won't call out who they are, but their name rhymes with Tennessee Titans. Not as cool. 49er fans have been cool. Jay, Justin, you guys have been cool. I am so sorry to have to cut this short, but I'm a bad person.
Your time,
so I got to go. I'm sorry.
No, we appreciate
no problem. Thanks for stopping by, man.
No, it was fun. I enjoyed the hell out of this. My throat is sore and everything, but I'm good.
I feel you there.
I'm good. I'm ready to go.
Excellent. We'll have you on again, Adam. Just before we let you go, promise us that you'll be on again and we're good.
We'll see.
I'll take it. All right.